Hello, welcome into the Spiritual Noob. Today, our topic for our pick a card reading is what decision do you need to make right now? Um, this is an interesting topic to me because I found in watching my own energy, keeping track of what's going on in my energy, that when I make a decision that's pretty important, it doesn't even have to feel super important, but like whenever you make a change in your consciousness, you make an actual decision in your life, it changes your energy in a way that's actually measurable through tarot and other means of measuring energy. So I always find that helpful to kind of see like, am I making the right decisions? Like, where's my energy right now? How can I choose that? Like, how can I kind of like manipulate the energy in my life for my best benefit? So that's what this reading is going to be about today. We're going to be using the Cosmic Insights Oracle card. I find that this Oracle card just gives kind of like real life messages and insights and stuff like that. So I'm not going to flip it over because I feel like that's a spoiler. I never feel like flipping the cards over. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll feel like revealing what the cards are underneath. But I do have crystals here to help you choose which pile you may be interested in. And um, I didn't really choose the crystals with any kind of energy in mind. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Um, the pyrite crystal is for pile number one. It's a nice little chunk of pyrite. Let's see if I can make the card straight again. Pile number two, we have this fluorite. And for pile number three, we have this bloodstone. I don't know why I'm kind of blanking on the name of this crystal. It's bloodstone. It's actually one of my favorite crystals. So go ahead and choose your pile. I'll give you a few seconds to do so, and I'll meet you at your piles. Welcome in pile number one. You chose the Gold Digger card. Says they want your money. They want your money being used. And then also this pyrite crystal, which I looked up the spiritual meaning of pyrite. It says protective qualities, shielding against negative energy, and promoting physical well-being. It's also associated with strength, willpower, and attracting wealth and abundance. So I don't necessarily look at the energy of this card as specifically being about gold diggers. It can be that for certain people in this group. Obviously, it says that on the card, so I'm sure there's at least one person who that may apply to. But I think generally speaking, this is just about someone who is using you for something. Whatever your gold is, whatever your value is, you're being used for that, right? So you may be, for instance, you may be a great housekeeper and there's someone that you're with, a partner or a roommate or whatever, who's really kind of taking advantage of that. So that's kind of the energy of what I feel in this card. So yeah, this would be a negative energy that you kind of need to protect yourself against, right? There always has to be an even exchange of energy in every situation, every relationship, and so on. So it's not necessarily like, so going to the example of the housekeeper, it's not necessarily bad that you're the better housekeeper than your roommate or whatever, right? But they need to be bringing something else to the table. If they're not a housekeeper, they need to be a cook, right? Then maybe they cook the meals and you clean the house. Or maybe they provide the money and you are doing, the housekeeping and whatever else may be on that list, right? There needs to be an even exchange in all relationships. So let's look at your cards. I just, we're using the Transient Light Tarot, and I just pulled out a few cards for this. I pre-pulled them, which makes it a little easier when I pre-pull them on camera, because then I can kind of control the amount of cards that come out and all that stuff, all that good stuff. So, okay, I did do some questions, like kind of a little spread for this reading. So the first question is, what's been haunting you? So what has been on your mind? Ten of Wands, burdened. So you're burdened by something. Yeah. So I think someone probably is taking advantage of you in some way. And it's going to be different for all of you, obviously. But, if you came to this group and you're meant to be here, that's going to resonate with you in some way. So let's look at the pros of whatever decision you need to make. So in your head, you have some decision that you're thinking of. If it's say it's a roommate situation where you feel like you're being taking advantage of, you may have already been thinking like, okay, I need to move, right? So the decision may be moving, right? So what are the pros of moving? What are the cons of moving? It could also be about just talking to the person, right? Well, like, should I say something to this person? So what are the pros of saying something to this person versus the cons of saying something to this person? So the pros would be Four of Wands reversed. So Four of Wands, I feel like, this is all about, like, Four of Wands is a card of celebration, and when it's in the reverse, it's kind of like there's something that, like, we should be able to celebrate, but, like, we're not totally able to celebrate it. And in this context, I feel like the pro would be kind of bringing this situation to light, right? Like, because if you don't talk to somebody about something, maybe they're not totally aware that they're acting in a way where you feel like you're being used, right? The pros of moving would be, it would be exciting to move, but maybe that's not an expense that you really want to take on right now, right? So there's this kind of like push and pull energy of like, it would be a good thing, but it's also going to be a little bit of a which is probably why you're hesitating. There's probably some hesitating to make whatever decision you need to make right now, right? Because it's like, if I talk to somebody about something that's a little uncomfortable, maybe I don't want to have that conversation. Maybe I don't love confrontation. Maybe I just like when people are just considerate on their own and I don't have to bring this to their attention, So there may be a little bit of like yeah, it would be a good thing, but at the same time, it wouldn't be the most comfortable thing for me, right? So what would be the con? Justice in reverse. I'm kind of seeing this in a similar way, right? So justice in reverse is all about really seeing things clearly, like weighing things out, and making a decision and moving in forward in clarity. There's something about this decision. There's something about, this decision that you need to make that's going to bring some things to the surface. It's not going to be super comfortable for all parties. That's the feeling that I'm getting here. So what is the advice here? What is Spirit advising you to do? I'm going to kind of skip that card because it's a little extra card. What is Spirit advising you to do? 8 of Wands reverse. This is interesting. So 8 of Wands is a fast-moving energy. When it's in reverse, it's kind of a stalled energy. 8 of Wands can also talk about the communication. So when it's in reverse, it's kind of like a lack of communication. So it sounds like Spirit is saying either it's not the time to pull the trigger on what we're talking about here. Like maybe it's not time to have a conversation about this. I think having a conversation about things is always good. It's always a good thing, but everything in divine timing, right? And right now might not be the time for it. So let's look at the outcome here. What will happen if you don't do anything? Four of Coins. Four of Coins is kind of an energy of like holding on tight to things, holding on tight to your possessions. Maybe this kind of an energy of like living paycheck to paycheck. This can also be like an energy of like trauma. I feel like holding on to trauma. What will happen if you listen to Spirit here? There's a tower that's going to be avoided. This is really interesting. So, let's look at it in the actual context of a gold digger, right? So they want your money, you're being used. Maybe there's something about, let's say this is like, let's say that this is a marriage situation where people are getting divorced. And so there's concern about the splitting of the assets and all of those things. And so in that context, you may look at, you know, your partner that you're breaking up from as a gold digger. They may be all over your money, right? And maybe communicating too much to them is going to give them too much ammunition, right? So it's like the more you hold back from them, the more you can avoid a tower moment, which a tower moment is kind of like when things, it's almost like when things fall apart in your life a little bit. I never look at it as a negative thing though, because it's like you're taking out the negative energy in order to like allow in positive energy. But also like in a divorce, let's say, we'll stay with that line of thinking. In a divorce, there's a way to do it that's going to be more beneficial to you, and there's a way to do it that's going to be more uncomfortable for you. And I'm kind of getting the feeling like that, like divulging too much information to this person may make the situation more uncomfortable for you than it needs to be. So this is just an extra card. Let's kind of see what this is. The wheel reverse. Yeah, this situation seems, it definitely seems, I feel like it seems deeper than a roommate situation, although that may be the case for some of you, right? That may be the case for some of you. But this does feel more like a divorce. In a situation of like dating, if you're dating someone that's using you, I'm thinking of like, why would you not want to communicate that to them? And I can't think of a great reason why you wouldn't want to communicate that to them. Yeah, I really see this as being like a divorce situation. There's some kind of situation here where you kind of want to like hold your cards close to the vest with the four of coins, right? You want to like, you don't want to divulge too much. You want to hold on to what you have. Um, this person takes advantage. I feel like, I don't know, this might be like a situation with like a narcissistic person where you can't really communicate with them. Like a narcissist, you don't really want to communicate with them in the way you would communicate with like a regular person, because they're probably going to use that communication against you, right? So you do want to hold your cards kind of close to the vest. Interesting. Let me pull let me pull a few more cards from the Rider-Waite tarot, because I kind of want to get more to the story. I don't know. Is there a question I want to ask here? I don't know why this situation is screaming divorce to me. What question do I want to ask? What is this situation about? What is this about? I'm so curious. Yeah, it's a partnership. This could also be a business partnership. This doesn't necessarily have to be a divorce. So it's, I mean, a marriage is a partnership too, right? So it's kind of the same energy. But I feel like this is a partnership that's been going on for a while. It's either a business partnership, or it's a marriage partnership. But it's a situation where I feel like things are coming to an end. They're nearing a completion, but it's not quite. It's like with the wheel reverse. It's nearing. It's like this is a cycle that is nearing completion, but it's not quite there yet. It's almost like it's not the right timing for certain things. But it's coming. It is coming. You have the Chariot at the back of the deck. So I feel like the situation is coming to a close. I would just stay aware of what's going on, like with the Justice card revert. Like stay aware of what's going on, but you don't necessarily have to like divulge everything you know and everything you're doing with this person, because I don't think that's going to be beneficial. This was a great reading and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you later, pile one. Bye. Welcome in, pile two. Your card says sexuality. Someone is still figuring themselves out. So sexuality is obviously a very like it's very what do I want to say? It's a very like personal message. It's not going to apply to everybody in this reading, right? The thing that's sticking out to me is that someone is still figuring themselves out part of this card. Some of you, it will be about sexuality. Some of you, I think it's just about in general, figuring yourself out, trying to like, trying to discover who you are. Know thyself. So I believe that this is fluorite. I'm not for sure, but I believe that it is. I kind of remember it being fluorite when I bought it. So, fluorite, I looked up the spiritual meaning. Fluorite is often associated with clarity, focus, and harmony, acting as a psychic vacuum cleaner to absorb negative energies and create a space for positivity. It's believed to promote emotional and spiritual growth by helping individuals understand and integrate their internal energies, fostering a sense of balance and wholeness. Yeah, so, you know, helping individuals to understand and integrate their internal energies, that sounds a whole lot like know yourself, right? Knowing who you truly are, figuring yourself out. Um, and it may be that you need to protect yourself a little bit from negative energies that may be having an influence on your life. Um, but yeah, let's get into the tarot and kind of like see more of like what this decision is that needs to be made regarding. We're using the Light Seers Tarot for this group. In your consciousness, what has been haunting you? Let's see. Ace of Swords. You've been getting a lot of messages that you may not totally understand, right? You may need to like really kind of focus on cleansing and purifying to really hone in on what those messages are. Let's see what else. So in terms of this decision that needs to be made, because I feel like there's intuition coming in for you, to help guide you through whatever decision it is that needs to be made here. So what are the pros? What are the pros of making a decision, or if you're thinking about what you want to do? The pros are that there's going to be balance. Whatever you're thinking about doing, it's going to bring balance to your life. What are the cons? I mean, I don't necessarily see this as a con per se, but some people might. I think that like this is so okay, you got the Hermit, right? So going hermit mode isn't always comfortable for people. It's really going within, it's really saying like, you know what, I'm not really gonna hang out right now. Like I'm just kind of like gonna be to myself for a minute so I can really like focus on me, get to know me, listen to the messages that are coming in for me, you know. And you may be in a situation where like I'll give you an example of a situation that may send you into hermit mode. So a lot of people who are dating may be in a situation where they feel like they need to break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, but they may be a person who is not comfortable being alone. They're not comfortable being in hermit mode, right? And so they may stay in a situation that's not the best for them, in order to avoid that kind of like internal silence, maybe loneliness. There may be fears there of like loneliness, rejection, like all of these things, right? So that's just one example, right? But to really get to know yourself, you kind of have to like remove external factors, and you never are just dealing with self, right? Because everything outside of yourself is a reflection of self. So it's kind of like you always are dealing with self, but you're also not always, like you're always dealing with self, but we can also choose to add in more energies that they are the self. They're a reflection of the self, but they're external energies in quotation marks, right? They're other people, right? It's still us at the end of the day. It's still us, but it's wearing the suit of someone else. If that makes sense. I feel like that was a tongue twister for me. So yeah, that can be a con for a lot of people. So what is the advice? What does Spirit want you to do in this situation? 8 of Cups reversed. So 8 of Cups is all about walking away from a situation. So this is often the card that will come out when we're talking about breaking up from a situation. But it's reversed. So there can be a resistance to that energy. So in terms of like what Spirit is advising you to do. Maybe Spirit is saying pump the brakes on walking away from this situation right now, which is interesting because the last two readings, I feel like the messages from Spirit have been a little reserved. They've been a little reserved because usually I feel like Spirit is never afraid to say, yeah, you need to leave that situation. You need to walk away from that situation, right? But there's still more. It sounds like in whatever the situation is, there's still more to learn. There's more to learn about you, right? About what you can do in the situation, either just to grow to grow personally, or to possibly change the situation. Because you know how, like in relationships, we're always playing the blame game. It's you, it's you, it's you, right? But sometimes if we can get a little bit of awareness of what we could be doing in the situation to make it better, then we can make the situation better, right? But it takes sticking around, it takes doing a little inner work to figure all that stuff out. So what will happen if you do nothing in this situation? King of Pentacles. I mean, the King of Pentacles is a great card. Masculine energy. The King of Pentacles rules the material realm, right? So the King of Pentacles is great, but also the King of Pentacles, I wouldn't call that a super balanced energy when it comes to balancing the physical and the spiritual. Like there's a lot of people. I think I brought up narcissists in this reading. I don't know if it's either this reading or the reading before, but I'm gonna bring it up again. So like narcissists are a great example of people who a lot of times tend to be they do very well for themselves in this physical plane. They're not always the greatest people, right? So like I feel like the King of Pentacles isn't necessarily talking about a narcissist, but it's talking about a person who is kind of like ruling this earthly realm. And I feel like you can have rulership of your own, not of the whole world, but of your own personal world. You can have rulership over your material place in the world without really having spiritual balance. So yeah, if you do nothing, you may do really well in this physical world, but I'm wondering what that means for you in a more spiritual way. So what will happen if you listen to Spirit? The Fool. You'll see things in a new light. I feel like there's a situation that you want to leave that is not necessarily beneficial in a spiritual way for you to leave the situation. I feel like leaving the situation may be a little bit of the easy way out. And there are things about this situation that you could be learning from and growing from. And that you're not necessarily going to have that option. You're not going to have that experience if you leave the situation. And the Fool is about really starting over. Like really, you hear people talk about relationships, for instance. Let's talk about relationship. You hear people talk about relationships where it was really rocky, right? It was really rocky. And then they figure some things out. And then the relationship turns out really great after that, right? So I feel like you can turn a new leaf here. But the card, and going back to the first card, someone is still figuring themselves out. And I feel like that someone is you. I feel like there are things that you can really be learning about yourself, and that this situation is going to help you learn about yourself. So I have an extra card to kind of close out this reading. The Five of Swords. Yeah, there's a lot of conflict in this situation. For sure. There's a lot of conflict, and I feel like this energy of the Five of Swords is not just going to go away if you walk away from this situation. Whatever this is, when I talk about a decision that you need to make, you know what that decision is. Whether it's about your sexuality, whether it's about a relationship, whether it's about a roommate, whether it's about a job, whatever is on your mind, there's something on your mind, right? There's something, you have Ace of Swords here in your consciousness. So, you've been getting a lot of intuitive nudges about this situation. And this reading is saying if you walk away from the situation right now, you haven't learned all there is to learn about yourself. It's not about another person. It's not about that job. No. It's about learning about you. It's about growing in your own skin, right? And walking away from the situation right now is not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit you because that conflict is still going to follow you. That energy is still going to follow you. So that is this, your reading, pile number 2. This was an interesting reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you resonated with it. If you did, please like my video, share my video, and subscribe to. Bye. Welcome in pile number 3. Let's look at the card you chose. You chose patience. Just a few more months. Good things to come to those who wait. Interesting message. So you also chose the Bloodstone, and I looked up spiritual meaning of Bloodstone. It says spiritually, Bloodstone is said to facilitate growth, enlightenment, and connection to higher realms of consciousness. Its productive qualities and ability to release negative patterns and beliefs makes it a powerful ally for anyone seeking to live a more balanced, harmonious, and fulfilling life. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a little out of breath. I just was running up and down the stairs to get my dogs. Let me get some water. So yeah, I feel like there's a situation here that you're kind of like itching to do something about, but it's not really the right time. And I feel like having a little bit of patience in this situation is going to really help you grow spiritually. So let's look at your tarot cards. We're doing Tarot of the Abyss for this group today. One of my favorite tarot decks. And I have a few questions here. What has been haunting you in your consciousness? The Devil in reverse. So there's a devil energy here. I feel like I want to get some clarification on that. What is the devil energy? What is this devil energy all about? That's interesting. That was the first card out. Ace of Pentacles reversed. This could be about money. Maybe that's your devil energy. Maybe this is a group that struggles financially and you're trying to manifest money for yourself. For some of you, that is going to be the case. Because maybe, you know, a lack of money can definitely be a devil energy. Can definitely feel like other people are, it's like other people make money easier. You know what I'm saying? I definitely know that feeling. So Spirit may be saying a little bit of patience. It is coming, but it's kind of not the right time for it. Just a few more months. Good things come to those who wait. So, but in terms of a decision though, so what's the decision? Hold on a second before I pull another card. What is the decision that needs to be made here? Justice card reverse. You don't see the whole picture yet. Yeah, I really think, okay, so the decision is kind of to be patient or not be patient with whatever the situation is. You may be thinking of, man, I really need to go get a new job, or, you know, like there's some kind of something that you're thinking about pulling the trigger on right now, and Spirit is saying, wait a minute, because you don't have the whole picture yet. Interesting. So what is the pro? So, okay, the way I'm reading this is that there's something that you want to do about your situation. You want to take some kind of action. Spirit is saying it's not the time for that yet. So Spirit is saying don't do that right now. So what is the pro of taking action on it right now? The High Priestess. That's quite a pro. The High Priestess is connected intuitively. She knows everything. She knows all. She can see beyond the veil. Interesting. Maybe if you act on something right now, it's going to give you too much information and not enough experience. Meaning, part of the reason why we come down here in physical form, we incarnate into these physical forms, is for the experience of life, right? Because we know all on the other side already. There's nothing that we don't know, right? In spiritual form, which is the High Priestess is communicating on a spiritual level, right? And on that level, there's nothing that we don't know and don't understand. Maybe what Spirit is saying is that you definitely would get the benefit of knowing more, having higher knowledge, but it's not necessarily going to give you the growth that Spirit would like you to have. Maybe you may be sitting back going like, who cares? I'd rather have the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't necessarily come here just to have the knowledge. You didn't come here to like pass go or pass, you know, whatever. You came here to get the experience to lead you to the knowledge. So what is the con of you making the decision that you want to make? Two of Wands reversed. This is about kind of not having a plan. So the pro of doing what you want to do, taking the action you want to take, is it's going to give you higher knowledge. But the con of doing what you want to do is that you're not going to see the greater plan. Interesting. This is a very interesting reading. So, what is the advice from Spirit? Ten of Pentacles. Abundance. You know what? So I was saying that this was like, this might be about money at the beginning of the reading. And you know what this is reminding me of is like, when people say, like, don't put a number. I know people who try to tell you how to manifest, or like, think of a specific number in your head, right? But I've also heard people say, don't ask for a specific number, because what you're asking for may be like not at all as grand as what Spirit really has in store for you. So it's almost like, I feel like it's almost like Spirit is advising you to wait, because the abundance that's going to come to you from waiting is going to be way greater than anything you have in mind right now. You just have to be patient. So the outcome, what will happen if you don't do anything? What will happen if you don't do anything? Ace of Wands reverse. So what will happen is you'll take no action. There's some kind of action that you're thinking of taking right now. And what would happen is you wouldn't have to take that. Like, I almost feel like it might be an action that's not really what you want anyway. And it's almost like, if you just wait, you're going to see that you're not even going to have to do that at all. Like, an example of that for me personally would be like, you know, I'm on disability, and I try to work as little as possible for good reason. But there's times when I'm like, oh, I need to get a job, right? And so I'm always kind of like battling this. Should I take an action, like, to make more money, or should I, like, what should I do, right? So Spirit is saying, like, if you do nothing, you won't have to do anything. And the last one is, what will happen if I listen to Spirit? Seven of Pentacles reversed. Seven of Pentacles is all about kind of sitting back and watching something grow. It can also be like an indicator of time, like a length of time. Seven of Pentacles reversed, I feel like it can be it can be a loss. It can indicate a loss. Let me get a little bit of clarification on the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Clarification on the Seven of Pentacles reversed, please. I might read from the guidebook too on this one, because there may be something in there. So yeah, the messages here at the end are interesting. You have Page of Swords reverse and the Magician reverse. I feel like there's some things that you're not meant to know. I really do. There's things that you're not meant to know. There's things happening behind the scenes. So, and I feel like if you listen to Spirit, which Spirit is saying, have patience, you don't need to do anything right now. With the Magician reverse, it's kind of saying like, you won't have to be the one to make this happen. Like, this is going to happen for you. Let me get a closing message. Temperance reverse. Yeah, your closing message is Temperance reverse. There's something that's out of balance right now in your life. And I almost feel like there's not much you can do about it. Like, I feel like there's not much you need to do about it. You just need to wait. I don't know if you're waiting on someone else's energy. I don't know if you're waiting for things to line up in just the right way. But there's something out of balance on a spiritual level, because this Temperance is in the major arcana. There's something out of balance on a spiritual level, and I feel like it's not your responsibility to fix it. You know, the Bloodstone talks about courage and willpower and stuff like that, and then you got the card for patience. I think you just need to like sit back and not feel like you have to take the reins on this, which is hard to do, you know. So this is your reading. This is a very curious reading. Let me know if you resonated with this reading at all. I would be very interested to know. Please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I will talk to you later, Pile 3. Bye.